Welcome to the live stream. I am Daisy Ex Machina, the drag queen detective that investigates all things speculative in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And I am doing a Get Ready With Me where I put on drag makeup and talk about books and movies and whatever's going on. And Lori is here. Not sure how long you can stay. I appreciate however long you can stay. You're always welcome. And I'm always enjoy hearing from you. And Lynette is here. Yay, Lynette. Okay. And let me know how the sound is. I thought last week when I was hearing it back, it sounded a little weird. So how is everyone's reading going this week? Okay, I read Thornhedge. And before I talk about the book, I want to talk about the publisher because I am so pissed off once again, and I've complained about this before. So I got Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher, started reading it, and an hour later I looked down and I was like 30% through. And I paid almost the same price as I paid for Pierce Brown's Lightbringer. And an hour into that, I was like 5% into it. And then Lightbringer took me, over 2 weeks to read. This took me 2 days to read, and I could have done it in one sitting. I'm sure most of you could do it in one sitting. So I looked up on Goodreads and Amazon. Nowhere does it say it's a novella. It's a novella, except in the afterword of T. Kingfisher, she was saying how Tor was buying novellas and she was so happy that they picked Thornhedge. But why do they do this to us? Why can't they just be upfront? This is a novella, and why can't they have a price that's commensurate with a shorter work of fiction? I don't understand it, and it's driving me nuts. Sound is okay. Good. You've read nothing this week. That's okay, Lori. Not every week can be a winner. Cool Gamer is here. Thank you for joining us. You sound a little muffled, sort of, last week the same. It's probably this. It's probably this new microphone I got. Do I still sound muffled? Oh, well, Oh, you read Holly. Disappointing. Oh, that's too bad. 3.5. Cappuccino is here. I really want to read Thornhedge. You have a hold record. That's the way to do it. It's on your library. Indicates the page number. You know, I wish they would do word count. I understand word count much more than I do page. Because pages can vary just by depending on the font size. So yeah, I know I could do that, and I never do. Evie is here, actually on time. Yay! It's a long wait list. If you had looked up the Audible length, I know if I would have. Out rereading Fool's Quest, we all love Robin Hobbs. Doing a story a day from How Long Till Black Future Month. Haven't heard of that. I know if I really dug into it, I could have figured out it was a novella, but I shouldn't have to dig into it. They should just be upfront about it, I think. Anyway, about the book itself. It is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, or about the novella itself. It is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, and it is fantastic. I really loved it. I love the voice of T. Kingfisher. The writing, I think the writing is just so special for T. Kingfisher. It has this, I call it middle grade voice, but it's sort of this fairy tale type cadence to the writing. And the point of view is not from Sleeping Beauty. It's from the I'll say creature, or the person who either cursed or blessed the the princess to fall asleep. And I highly, highly recommend the story if you can find it in your library or if they lower the price. Page count can be deceiving. Font size, layout, exactly, exactly. Oh, Dragon Keeper. Yeah, another Elderlings. Okay, so what's I going to do? Oh, I'm going to do. I was thinking something with purple today. Purple is always a crowd pleaser. I can't talk today. I can't talk today if I'm not speaking to the microphone. Because the video I filmed last week was, I decided to do sci-fi movies because I wanted to do more speculative fiction and other mediums besides books. So I did movies of the 70s. And this week, I think I'm going to do movies of the 80s, even though if I don't know if these videos are going to, anyone's going to care about these videos. Yeah, I'm just going to do purple on the outside, then we'll figure out if I'm going to, what I'm going to cut the crease with. It could be purple, or I could just do silver. Because I released my Ray Bradbury video, which I thought would do better. It didn't do. I mean, it did okay for me, but not like the Asimov or Heinlein videos. So we'll see how this movie video does. But I just wanted to do the 80s because there's something nostalgic for me. And I know it's nostalgic about books too, but movies that I saw in college with groups of people that, you know, every week you'd go out, and back when they had video stores, you'd go to the video store and pick out weird movies. Okay. So let's. I'm going to try to do a half moon or half circle. Like that. Try to match it on this side. Oh, I know I don't talk about it that much, but I'm trying to break in as a middle grade writer, which is why I talk about middle grade a lot. And I just finished my second draft of my next book I'm going to try to get an agent for. And that's kind of a milestone. I still need to polish it up. But if anyone's interested in being a beta reader, contact me privately, and I would really appreciate getting beta readers, just because I have a writing group, but it's hard to be objective after you've on your own work. Okay, these are not even at all. But you know, the one thing you notice about your face, which you don't notice until you do makeup. So some of you who've been wearing makeup for years probably already know this, but your face is so asymmetrical. The shape of your face, and you don't really notice it, or I don't notice it until I started doing this, and like one eye is different than the other. And okay, so now that I did these half circles, I'm gonna do that. Okay, so that's going to be the shape today. Was able to buy myself a new book as a reward for getting a new Fitbit badge. Yay, walking. Wow, 25. Wow. How many miles is that? Oh, like I said, today it's going to be the film indie movies of the 80s. So I'm not doing like blockbuster movies. I'm doing the smaller, lesser known movies that I remember that I like. Um, no one else may like it, but hey, purple. I want to thank you for making sure for Evie I did not sleep on Vanished Birds and the Spear. Maybe it was Evie that talked about the spear that cuts through water. I love both those books. Read one end of last year and one earlier this year. Yay! Oh, and Evie read The Black Company, one of my favorite fantasies. I wouldn't call it epic fantasy. I guess it's dark because it's the heroes are kind of anti-heroes, but the villains are even worse than the anti-heroes. So got to get Daisy to read them. Like I said, the spear. I don't know anything about Vanished Birds, but spear that cuts through water. I've heard people say, and it's probably you, Evie, because I skipped it on Shove It or Shove It. Book length does not worry me. I'd rather pay $12 for a novella I love than $12 for long, long books that I disliked. Yeah, I hear you, but I'm still stuck in the days of print books when the thicker books made sense to charge more because of the printing costs. So a thinner book might be $2.99 and a big book might be $5.99. You can tell where my back in the 80s, 90s. Um, I don't know. 25,000. It's about 10 miles in one day. Lynette, that is amazing. Okay, so I know the shape now. So actually I'm going to make this a little thicker. I think for October, I want to do some videos on horror because I never do horror. And I like horror. I know I read much more science fiction and fantasy, but I like horror. But I think I'm kind of basic when it comes to horror because I read what everyone else knows. I read a lot of Stephen King. I mean, my favorite horror writer is Clive Barker, but he's pretty mainstream in the horror genre. But I think the Queen and King are Stephen King and Anne Rice, and I've definitely read a lot of Anne Rice. I mean, my favorite Anne Rice, I think, is the Mayfair Witches, but I like the Vampire Lestat trilogy. I like the first. Actually, even the first book isn't. You could probably skip the first book, but Lestat and Queen of the Damned, really, really good. And what other horror have I read? I've read Dean Koontz. Of course, Lovecraft. I really like the what's his name? He did the Titus Crow books. And he did those not vampire, vampire. But it had like a Lovecraftian twist to it. Brian Lumley. But anyway, for the month of Halloween, I thought I would do some horror videos. Okay. The novella can be wonderful. Well, you know, those Monk and Robot books are up here for me. And long books don't always, oh, that's so true. But if you're not sure, there is a library available to ask. Stephen, oh, did he do the Indian one? The, oh, I didn't like the book, Evie. Am I thinking of the right one? With the deer. Been disappointed with your horror reads in the last few years. I just don't find many books frightening. The Queen of the Damned film adaptation was awful, but I loved. Yeah, that was so sad. Oh, The Only Good Indians. Yeah, sorry, it wasn't my favorite. Wasn't my favorite. I'm with Lynette on that one. Um, but I appreciate sort of the in his prose, on a prose level. I like the raw way he writes. Okay, I need to go to a lighter purple. Yeah, the only horror I seem to read anymore are middle grade, not middle grade, young adult, because they come up a lot in Shelve It or Shove It, and I do get taken with some of their the covers. Okay. And I've read some okay young adult horrors. My problem with the young adult, because when I first discovered it was an age category, I thought I would love it. And there were a couple of authors I really did enjoy. I really enjoyed the Hunger Games, and anything by Marissa Myers. really enjoyed. But I think Twilight has kind of ruined the genre because they're just so often romance centric. A lot of times you get a young adult fantasy. The fantasy is a B plot, and the main arc of the story is a romance. So I guess that's just me. My Heart is a Chainsaw is a good place to start. Night of the Mannequins is a good novella. Huh, maybe I'll do Night of the Mannequin. You're talking about Stephen Graham Jones? Because I like the title, Night of the Mannequins. Oh, did I miss stuff? You missed everything, Lori, but Keela is here. Hey. But I'm sure I'll just keep repeating things as I usually do. Oh, you find nonfiction, especially true life. We talk about like true life crime. Talking novellas versus tomes, the high cost of novellas, even though they are short. And now, what are some good horror books? Yeah, I just haven't found, for me, a new horror author that has taken me like Anne Rice or Stephen King or Clive Barker. But anyway, I still want to do videos in October. Um, Horror related. Maybe I'll do one about films, and maybe I'll do 10 little known facts about a horror writer. I just don't like doing living authors. Well, Anne Rice has passed, and maybe I'll do Anne Rice. I was thinking of Stephen King because he's so popular, but I just feel weird doing. Maybe I should just get over it. But weird doing living authors. Then I was thinking about horror genres, but horror doesn't really have a genre. I mean, subgenres. For movies, there's slashers, which are, Friday the 13th, Chop 'em Up, Mad Men or Mad Women, and then everything else is supernatural. So if you don't say slasher horror movie, you'll just assume it's a supernatural ghost story, witches, vampires, that type of thing. Um, and in books, I don't think subgenres are really used much, except for paranormal romance. Thank you, Twilight. So I don't know, maybe I'll just have a little discussion about that at some point. Okay, so I think that's all I'm going to do. Oh, I didn't do anything under eyes. So let me do the under eyes. Kayla is reading a lot of fantasy these days, along the same thing, especially in young adult. I like romance, but the romance plots are often not done well in YA fantasy, or they are rushed. And they are so trope heavy. I mean, how many hate to love and love triangles can you read about? Realistic horrific stories can be much more frightening than monsters. I agree, but I like my monsters. I like my, oh, okay. I don't know if this is considered a horror, but the adult horror that I really, really liked was The Book Eaters by Suri. I forget the author's name, but it had a new type of monster called Book Eaters, and it was really original, really well done. Debut novelist. I'm really curious what their next work is going to be. But recommend Book Eaters. James Herbert. I haven't read that much. I can only recall one book I read by James Herbert, which is the one about the bugs, which I enjoyed a lot. And isn't, well, I guess he's science fiction, but I think Windham, because I was just looking at a book I had called Rebirth. John Wyndham, is he considered horror or is he science fiction? Because it's one of those that sort of blurs the line. Rats was horrifying. Put in a grocery order. Yeah, I did that a lot during COVID. Didn't they make a really scary movie adaptation of Rats in the 80s? Oh, was that the one with, because rats scare you. Oh God, 1984, the scene with the rats in the, but I do remember a movie about rats in the 80s, but with this really creepy actor. Yes, the Book Readers was great, so original. Monsters can be fun, and I don't really like to be scared. Just an entertaining level of scared. Oh, I like being scared. Windham science fiction in your view. If you got some yummy things, yes, tell us your grocery list. No, you don't have to tell us. Okay, I'm going to do the under eyes. Okay, trying to get this even. Okay, well, I'll come back to that. Willard, thank you. Willard. Yes, that's the one I was thinking of. Was that James Herbert? Willard is a scary movie. Yes, 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 yes. It was pretty creepy, and I think a lot of it goes to the actor. Um, did you say his name? Windham, John Christopher, Arthur C. Clarke used to regularly meet at a pub to discuss science fiction. I know I read a lot of. I mean, this year I think exclusively read fiction, but there are some nonfiction books about, like I think Lynette, you were talking about the one about James Tiptree. I want to read, and there's one about John Campbell that covers Heinlein, Asimov, and L. Ron Hubbard. That sounds really interesting. Okay. Anyway, I could do a video on horror movies from the 80s, maybe. But I liked really trashy horror movies. It's trying to blend in the black. Actually, one might be interesting is horror movies based on Lovecraft or cosmic horror. Actually, that's another subgenre of horror, cosmic horror, which is basically Lovecraft. I mean, he pretty much invented that genre. Clarke wrote a book based on their meetings. See, that's the type of nonfiction I should be reading, but I don't. Be so fun to hear their conversations. That and the Inklings, the Tolkien, Arthur C. Clarke, C.S. Lewis thing. You have James Herbert's bio. Love reading bios of authors. I like horror blended with other genres like sci-fi or fantasy or historical. One horror movie I thought, yeah, Alien. Alien was one of the horror movies that sort of changed the genre. Aliens is a great sequel. Yeah. I think Alien is scarier, but Aliens kind of has, well, it's more epic. But I kind of think the plot of Aliens is better. But I mean, they're different stories. Okay, so let me put on some eyeliner. Okay, anyway, that's the outline for where I want to cut my crease. "14 and the Fold" by Peter Clines is Lovecraftian. Is he a recent writer? Because I haven't heard of him. Both of those are on my Storygraph list. He wrote 4 books set in the same universe, but I hated Dead Moon, and the other book was just okay, but 14 and the Fold are really good. Huh. Need to check it out. Of course, I did a video about the, oh, fudge. I want to say Wintertide. There was a duology of Lovecraft-inspired books. Where the old ones, or the frog, what are they called? I'm talking about the frog or the fishmen. Are they the old ones? Anyway, but that the fishmen were the good guys. And the humans and government were evil. It's really an interesting twist. I should look up the name. I think it was Wintertide and Strange Roots or Deep Roots. I think it was Deep Roots. Because the author had a name I couldn't pronounce. Yeah, Deep Roots by Ruth Anna Emrys, Emrys. That's the second book, and the first book is Wintertide. Okay. Highly recommend those books. And I think everyone knows that Lovecraft is known for being a little racist. This kind of turned the tides on it and the fish people were, when they were discovered in Innsmouth in this universe, were grouped in with the Japanese interned in relocation camps during World War II. Okay. I wish they'd make a better movie of I Am Legend in which it shows who is the true monster. I still cover my eyes during some. I do too, actually. Especially anything involving the eyes. I can't watch. I have to cover my eyes. Lynette, because I was going to do I still am probably going to do one day a video on the trilogy of Charlton Heston movies. Planet of the Apes, Soylent Green, and Omega Man, which is based on I Am Legend. And I actually want to read the Planet of the Apes one in French, not in French, but a French translation. But interestingly, when I was like researching it, I was looking up the Will Smith version, which apparently had the original ending that you want, but then they ran it by test audiences who didn't like it, so they changed the ending. So apparently Will Smith liked the original ending, or whoever the producer director was. It's really not that surprising that a mainstream movie just goes with the most popular storyline. Because it's really the indie movies that are more willing to take the risk of non-traditional happy endings. Once in a while, I guess a movie studio would, but not really in science fiction or fantasy. Okay, so I'm just going to do silver lead. I think it goes good with the purple, but I am going to try to ombre it into purple and black on the edges. So we are going to start the silver. And switch to purple. Okay. Thought that purple would be a little darker. Let's see, do I have purple shimmer? Okay, May. Okay. When I was a child, the Dr. Phoebes movie gave you nightmares. That Vincent Price movie. Dr. Phoebes, yeah, Vincent Price, his wife died on the operating table, so Dr. Phoebes went after the doctors and nurses, killing them by methods based on plagues of Egypt. And found the movie quite tame. Yeah. I know I've seen Dr. Phoebes, I just can't remember the details. But it's similar to that other Vincent Price movie. That was more of a, I think, comedy satire. Who's killing the chefs of, the great chefs of Britain or something? But it's the same thing where he's like a mad cook this time that. Or maybe he was a restaurant critic, or getting his revenge on. Okay. My son watched Willard, and the only scene that upset him was with the scene with the cat. I don't remember. I don't remember that much about the movie. I know I've seen it though. Okay, going for the chroma cake, the black. Isn't it funny how you see movies or you remember movies that really impacted you as a child, but they just don't have that same effect on you? I mean, the biggest horror influence for me was Night of the Living Dead, the George Romero, the very, very first one in the, what was it, 60, I want to say 65, 66. Anyway, I saw it when I was way too young. I mean, way too young. I was like, I think 7 or 8 years old. But you know, it was on TV, old black and white movie. Or it looked like an old black and white movie. I mean, this was probably in the 70s for me. But it was on TV. And I watched it when I was alone. No one else was there with me. And it gave me nightmares into adulthood. But I also have been a big fan of zombie movies ever since. Another one that stuck with me as a kid, and I know I watched Baby Jane. I'm sure I watched Baby Jane. Um, but there was another movie that Betty Davis did. Where she played a nanny. And that movie, I think it was called The Nanny. That movie really stuck with me too, or really frightened me. I think it's that thing when you're a kid, the idea of adults harming children just freaks with your mind because at least I, imagine adults being, oh, what's the word I want? Empathetic to children, or that children were off limits. I've been reading books I loved as a child and found that I still enjoy them as an adult. My next childhood reread will be Children of the Oregon Trail. Oh, my parents took me to the theater to see Arachnophobia. Soon after it was released, I was 4 years old. I've been terrified of spiders ever since. The only zombie books I really enjoyed was Hollow Kingdom. Yeah, I'm talking about movies. Books, I love the Hollow Kingdom, but I guess I don't read zombie books. Loved Arachnophobia. It was fun, and I'm not scared of spiders. But you weren't 4 years old when you saw it, I bet. Huntsman spiders. Kayla says the last horror related thing I watched was The Last of Us, and technically that is post apocalyptic, and I get scared easily, so I don't watch horror much. You are not alone. Many people don't like horror just for that reason. But talking about getting scared for life, there's another movie, a little known movie called Jaws that I saw when I saw it when it came out because I saw it in the theaters. My parents didn't take me, but my godparents' kids did, and they were like older teenagers. But I was too young. I was too young, and I was scared of the water. I think even today, if I'm in the ocean or a pond or something, I mean, the thought will come through my mind. I can't really see this water underneath me. What if there's a shark? But after I first saw Jaws, I was even afraid of swimming pools. Because your imagination just will go places that you have no has no place, no right to go to, like sharks in swimming pools. They got over that fast, but oceans. And it's funny because I think I read most of Jaws in a supermarket. Because you would go to the supermarket and, I mean, back then they would have like a carousel of books, and I would just sit there and read the book. Yeah, I guess in my mind, if they're books, just treat it like a library. Okay, I got this black all over me. I think. Okay, so now going to switch to black powder. I'll just use this. I Hey, Lydia, scary movies with children. How about the other? That one chilled me. Me too. Yeah, I totally. Thank you for reminding me of my childhood terrors. That's the one with the famous. I think you're talking about the one with the famous uh, actor coach Uta Hagen. Um, about the twins. But yeah, that one did scare me too. Yeah, that's the one with those pruning shears. Okay, I need to just clean this up a little teeny bit. Okay. Oops, didn't mean to leave that up. I watched Caroline in art class at 13 years old and freaked me out, but I do love that movie. I like that movie too. And that's all storytelling because, I mean, it's stop motion animation. But the story itself is just so creepy that it can make the stop motion really pop out. Terrified of large bodies of water. If I can't see or touch the bottoms, I go into panic mode. Is it because of sharks? One of my friends was told as a little girl, if you step on a spider and kill a sailor, oh, it would kill a sailor at sea. Oh, and kill it, a sailor at sea would die. Her father was in the merchant navy, so she was horrified at seeing spiders killed. That's kind of cute. Thing I'm most afraid of is fire, but not to the extent of it being a phobia. I don't think I've seen the other. Yes. Okay, so that's the other I'm thinking about. I love Coraline, both the book and the movie. Okay, guys. I think I'm done with the eyes, and I probably should have dusted off this bake earlier, but it doesn't matter. I'll do it now. Actually, okay. Yeah, I think we're done with the eyes. Yeah, the other isn't It's just all suspense type horror. There's nothing graphic about it. There's no monsters. Um, is it supernatural? I don't know. So something, leaves questions in your mind. Okay, I'm going to go to lips. I'm just going to do red lips. I know I have purple lipstick, but I don't want to deal with it. Well, maybe I should. Well, we'll see. Okay. The outlines. I need to walk only 13,000 steps today to reach 140,000 for the week. I'm not sure if 140,000 steps deserves a book reward or not. Oh, groceries are put away. Yay. They ran out of muffins and forced me to get a 4-pack. Aw. They're off my eating list. Extra muffins, a tragedy. Okay, so to do purple or not? So cream. Yeah, let's go for it. Okay, so purple lips are done. I don't know if I should put some white. Actually, I'm just going to put some gloss on. Is it just me or does it look red in the camera? I don't know. Okay, so let's put on lashes. Okay. Making good time today. But I didn't grab a purple wig, and with all this purple, I probably should. So should I do an updo purple? Or just the short purple? Oh, maybe I'll do that new wig. No, it's mostly blue. You hope to nip it in the bud. It's better than... Oh, okay, missed this conversation up here. Diagnosed as pre-diabetic a few weeks ago. Oh, that sucks. I love the crackle of a fire in a fireplace. Oh, it is reversible. So that's why you're on this exercise kick. Change your diet, exercise, lose weight. So the lip looks pinkish purple or the eyes? Very dramatic. Oh, thank you. Hopefully the eyelashes will make it come together. Oh, yeah, they're 20 millimeter lashes that I've sort of shaped. I've cut them. Because otherwise, I've noticed the inner eye would just go up too far. Oh shoot, this one. Oh no. I thought it lifted, but it's actually the lash. Okay, I think that's the final look. Put this over here. And don't forget my earrings. I hear you. I hear you, Evie. I got these little grape earrings. Okay, so for wig, I think I'm going to do the short purple one. Oh, I have this little crown. I think I got this on Temu or something. I mean, it's really cheap, but it went with this necklace. Leave it on some. Yeah, I'm always amazed how cheap things can be on sites like Temu and Shine, Shein. But they are super cheap. I mean, the quality is super cheap, which is fine for video, but I can't imagine people wearing some of this stuff in person. I see some of these comments. Your Majesty, the Queen of Science Fiction and Fantasy, never bought from Temu. And it's probably all from sweatshops too, but I guess we don't have to go there. Okay, well, gosh, this is under 90 minutes. Usually it takes me at least 90 minutes to get through one of these. But we have this all purple look. Lips, eyes, hair, jewelry, everything is purple. And I'll be filming. Oh gosh, this doesn't go with the 80s, does it? I'll have to find something with shoulder pads because I'm going to do a video of the top movies of 1980 that are indie movies that I liked. So, and it's interesting how I'm sorting it because I'm going through a list in Wikipedia. They have a decade, every movie that was ever released in different genres. So I picked 10 I like, but then rather than me deciding what comes, ranking them 1, 2, 3, I used a Rotten tomato meter. So I don't even know how they're going to be ranked. And it's interesting to see how it ends up. But anyway. Oops. One of these days I'm going to request a makeup tutorial. If you're ever in Las Vegas, feel free to look me up, Evie. The Purple Goddess Detective. See you guys next week. Goodbye, all. Yes, goodbye. Thank you for joining me. See you next week. And as usual, may all the books you read be blessed.